Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. Welcome to part 3 of my Give It a Whirl workshop. We're going to be creating this little box today. It is a mini paper pumpkin box, and as you spin it, it has different sayings. Now I was originally going to use the same stamps I have there, and I do have one made like that, but I figured let's take the Bloom Where You're Planted Designer Series paper. It came in your Give It a Whirl kit if you have a kit, but anyone can follow along. Let's make a paper pumpkin box, a mini paper pumpkin box, and let's use this latest paper pumpkin kit. I didn't have it at the time when I did part 2, so I didn't know how great this was, and I thought now I need to use this stamp set. And I didn't know it was going to fit. I actually planned on using Inspired Thoughts. That's which one I would have this. But then I tried it, and how did I know it fit without even stamping? Is because remember, in part 1, if you remember part 1, we created a template. So here's the template I'm talking about. This is the kind of card we're going to create because I still want to do the same thing for this box. Use the rectangle template. I told you to go around and see how things would fit. See, look at that. So we can say where there is in one color, right? We're going to say, let me get the stamp because I actually pulled out a few paper pumpkin stamps. Here we go. Here's the hope stamp. So we can say where there is hope. See, hope fits in there. There is faith. Oops, can you see that? That's going to be cool, right? So I thought, let's just do that. Let's make, so if you missed my last tutorial on YouTube, I did 25 projects you can create with the Give It a Hope, or not Give It a Hope. I'm mixing up Give It a Whirl with, here, not Give It a Hope, but it is kind of Give It a, with the Hope box. So if you missed that tutorial, I did 25 projects you can create with the Hope box. We're just using the stamps from that right now. We're not making these. These I've already made in other tutorials. I've shown you how to use the stencils and how to make a box out of a card. What we're doing now is I'm in the Give It a Whirl series. The Give It a Whirl series is taking these dies here, just so you're all tracking. I need to give an introduction. There's these brilliant Give It a Whirl dies. They're by Stampin' Up. I have a series that you can follow along with, and in each part of it, we're making different projects using these Give It a Whirl dies. So in part 1, I went over these dies, and your homework was to create your templates, and I showed you how the dies work. And here's the template. Here's just one of the many templates. Then in part 2, we created these cards. Well, we created a card like this. It was we made cute Halloween cards, which are Give It a Whirl cards. I stamped it, just like I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you all the steps. I stamped it, I showed you the mechanics behind it, and we made cute Halloween cards using pumpkin pie ink and Memento black ink. So today we're going to use different colors to coordinate with this paper. Every time I'm going to be doing a different project. Last time we used this window, we made cards. This time I'm using, instead of this cute Halloween Designer Series paper, I'm using Bloom Where You Planted Designer Series paper. All these came in your kit if you did get a kit. So that's just so we're going to take out, you have 6 pieces of this. We're going to use probably, let's see how many we're going to use. We're going to use 1, 2, 3, and I have the inside decorated too. So you're going to take out your Designer Series paper or any paper you have, right? You can make a hope box out of any paper. We're going to use, so I think it's good to use one of those. This might be good for the inside. I actually have 12 pieces in here. You don't need 12 pieces. You're only going to need your 6 pieces. This one's good. I think that's good for the side. Well, nope, this one. Let's see. We'll use this one for the, I don't remember what I did for the inside. We'll use the brick for the outside. And we can use, maybe this one would be good on the outside or inside. So let's do some of this. Let me just start by doing some stamping now. We'll get to decorating. So you need a mini paper pumpkin box. We'll get to decorating it a little bit later. But we need a piece of paper like this for the front of our box. And we want one that lines up. So let's try both of these pieces. See, and we want one that would sort of, like this one here will line up good. Do you see what I'm saying? We want, here's the die. Here's the front of the box. So something like that would be good. We want the mechanics of the box. See how I have it here? We don't want that to be in the way of the really cool plants. So we're going to do something like that. So I'll start out with that, and we'll start by making the circles. So we'll start by doing our die cutting. We'll get back to decorating the mini pizza box later. And those of you that have ScanNCuts, I've done tutorials on how to decorate the mini pizza boxes using your ScanNCut as well. So you could cut the side pieces that way. But since we're doing everything in this is sort of like one of my boot camp series where we do everything from scratch. You have to just cut it all with a paper trimmer for this class. So we're going to take our, when we use our dies, we're using our Stampin' Cut and emboss machine. That's plate number 1. We need the thin die adapter, which is plate number 2. We need a plate number 3. That's one plate number 3. We need some basic white cardstock. I'm just going to make the circles first, is all I'm doing. Just to get you in the mood for die cutting. Got to find our circle. We got to make a couple of wheels. You're always going to make 2 of these because you're going to double them up and you need to stamp on them. And if you mess them up, you need to be able to stamp onto the back as well. So we need this, and then we're going to put this face down like this. And we're going to take another plastic plate, another number 3, and we're putting that on top. That's the sandwich. I'm going to crank that through. So that's the whole sandwich. I'm cranking it through, and leave room so that you can put 2 of these on one piece of paper. I just took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Let me turn my machine around. And I took an 8.5 by 11 and I cut it in half so that it would fit through, because you can only fit through a 6-inch piece of paper through here. So you need 2 of those. I've already had mine made, but I'm going to go ahead and make more just for the sake of, I don't want any of my viewers to miss any steps. Sticking it back through, we're going to cut one more. Plus, if you mess up, like I said, not only do we need to double these up because they need to be strong and spin, but if we mess up, we can turn it over and have it stamp on the other side. So, and they're going to poke a little hole through there. That's going to be important for our mechanics of our little box. You will be so used to using these dies by the end of the series that you're going to just be able to make so many quick and interactive cards, so simply, and interactive boxes. I thought it would be fun to make interactive boxes in this series. All right, so that's one piece. Now we're going to take another piece of white, and here's where it's important to use some painter's tape. I told you need painter's tape in this series, so you're going to do the same sandwich. You got plate 1, right? Plate 2, plate 1, plate 3. Now here's important. You now need to think about where this is going to be. So I'm taking out some painter's tape because I need to make sure this plant, or is it the other piece? Okay, going back to this, see how the box is. I don't want this, maybe if I want that plant, it's going to have to be over here. Depends on how the pattern is of the paper I gave you. So say we want it like this, right? That's fine, and we'll put the wheel over there. Or if we want that plant to show, we could put the wheel over there. But I think, no, just leave it like that. We're going to leave it face up. So what I'm going to do is this plant's going to show, and then the wheel's going to kind of be maybe up here. So it might block a little bit of that plant. So I want it just like that. But as you know from the last time, I said to put the white paper ahead of this paper, okay? Put the white paper ahead of this paper. See what I'm doing? It's going to have to go like that, around like that. So now I'm going to put a piece of tape there. You're going to see why, because it puts a big line across. I don't want the line to go across my designer series paper. I don't want this big line to go across there with this piece of metal. So when I die cut, I put the white piece on top. It'll all make sense as you're going to see me do this so many times throughout the series that it'll all make sense. So I'm putting that piece of paper in there, taped together. So now I'm going to put that extra plate on top. Now you'll see what happens. You'll see that line on the white cardstock. And it's really, don't worry that your machine makes a lot of noises. Okay, so here we go. See that line? That line is caused from the pressure of this die. Okay? And don't worry that I'm ripping the paper either, because it doesn't matter, because that piece is going on the bottom. Okay? So, here's the magic. The magic kind of happens. I'm trying to think if I need to die cut some more. Yes, I do need to die cut some more. I need to cut the window. So, we need to cut the window, so we need to but we need to first take this and put it on top. The window part doesn't make this big line. The little window's not the problem. It's this piece that's the problem. This is the culprit of this line. So what I did is I always put the white one. That was kind of what I came up with for the solution. See? Beautiful, right? No line. Isn't that beautiful? But then this is still part of my card. It's going beneath it. That's why I have to cut them together so that they precisely, you still got your stitching. Still got your beautiful stitching, right? You still got these are cut together. It all works out, and there's no line on it. So now I need to find, I don't know if I brought my pokey tool, so I'm just going to grab my scissors because I need to poke that hole through. So I'm just poking that little hole out. There we go. That hole is important for lining up the next pipe. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and adhere these two pieces together before I cut the window. So the window is going to be, I'm using the square window, I'm using the rectangle window. So where am I going to put the window? I'm going to use, we'll get to this in a minute, but just so you can see what we're doing. There's the window's going to go there. Just brilliant. And we're going to use the painter's tape again, just hopefully hopefully it doesn't slip. Okay, so let's just put a little bit of adhesive behind here. I'm using some Seal Plus. I'm just putting a little Seal Plus adhesive behind here to adhere these two pieces together because I don't want them slipping. Actually, I can put a little bit more. There you go. So Seal Plus has little ridges on it. I love Seal Plus adhesive. It works really well. I'm going to adhere these two pieces together. You have to have a piece of cardstock behind your designer series paper. If you've tried to use Give It a Whirl cards and your cards were all floppy, it's because you didn't reinforce your cards. All right, so here's where I don't want to rip I don't want this to rip, but if it rips the inside of the window, it's okay. So now here's a couple tips. Okay, so you want to make sure that the hole lines up, right, like that. But you also want to make sure this is straight. So let me move this over for a second so you can see it. And let me find my painter's tape. What I like to do with painter's tape is I don't want it to rip my paper right now. I'm going to take it and I'm wearing a t-shirt, and I'm going to take this painter's tape, and you can't see it, but I'm getting the lint off my t-shirt. I'm making the painter's tape weaker. Maybe you have washi tape that's already sort of like not as sticky. You don't want to use super sticky tape because you don't want this to rip, this designer series paper. So I used it as sort of a lint remover. And then furthermore, I'm also going to sort of put it in the middle of the window to hold it as opposed to the outside, because the middle, it doesn't really matter if I rip the middle off because the middle is the window. Okay, now we're going to cut the window. So hopefully that's straight enough. We're going to go with that. So I put the little piece of tape there. My window, I'm looking for the top plate. The plastic plate, here it is. And I'm going to put that top plate there. And I'm going to crank that through. And I think that's all the die cutting we need because we're not doing any stars or clouds today. And I usually don't use the arrows because my husband said, you know, it's pretty obvious you have to move this card. You don't really need the arrows all the time. So we're going to just go with that. I think that's all the die cutting we need. As soon as this works out, we're going to take this off, and hopefully it doesn't rip my designer series paper. And if it does, that's what embellishments are for. And you have embellishments in your kit, like a little piece of, you know, you got some rhinestones and some bling and some ribbon. So I'm just using that to make sure that this didn't get crooked. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy it worked. And it did rip. See, it did rip. But it's all good because we don't care that it ripped a piece of designer series paper, right? It didn't matter because that's not part of our card. This is our card. All right, I'm happy with this. I was ready to do it again if I needed to. So now we need to build our project. Let's do a little bit of, we don't need any die cutting for this project. We just need some more. We need the paper trimmer. And I'll show you how to assemble the box and the whole thing. So we need the paper trimmer, and we're going to make, I have my measurements written here. I don't have them typed up yet, but you can look at what I'm looking at. Don't mind my writing. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm looking at. And this is what I'm cutting right now. I'm cutting 5 5/8 times 1 inch. So I'm going to take what I'm doing. I have my paper trimmer over here. I'm going to take this piece, and I need 3 of them. Okay, 1. Okay. Well, I don't know why I need 3 of them. Why did I need? Oh yeah, you need 3 of them. They don't all need to be the same though. So here's 1, 2, 3. So we need 3 pieces. We need 3. They're not. We're gonna do 1 with this brick, but we'll do some with this one. So we'll do, but it'll be double-sided, so it doesn't matter. I'm taking 2 pieces of paper, and I'm going 5 5/8. Let's just turn the trimmer around. Like I said, I zoomed in so you can see that. see those measurements. I'm going 5 5/8. Okay, and let's see. You're going to have to make sure you do the bricks the right way. That is the right way. So I'm just, make sure your bricks are. So 4/8 is a 1/2 inch, right? So 5/8. You can't really see what I'm doing over there, but I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so see how I'm over here doing 5 5/8. See, 1/2 inch is 4/8, and then 5/8 is 2 more little smidgens on your trimmer. And then you go, and then you're going to turn the paper, and you're going to do it by 1 inch. Okay, and then the others, I don't really have to show you how I cut them. I'll just cut them off the camera so you can just, I'll sort of show you, but you get the idea. Okay, there's the pieces by 1 inch. And again, those of you know how to use a trimmer or scan and cut. You just cut it, the papers whatever way you want. All right, what else do I need? 5 1/2. So I'm just going to go ahead and make, I have 4 of those. I'll go ahead and make the side panels. I was using this for the side panels, but I'm not sure why. I kind of like these others better, but we'll see. I don't want to waste that one. That one's good for the inside. So I'm going to use 3 3/4. I'll use this paper. I'm trying to find 2 of those. Let's see. I know I have another one. Or here, this one is also good for the inside. Here we go. I'm going to take these for the little side pieces. And I'm going to say 3 3/4. You can't really see that, but I'll show you in a second. Okay. See? 3 3/4. Notice how my pattern went. I want these to be on the side panel, so I put this way at the top. And then these are going to be my little side pieces by 1 inch. Throw those over there. I'm just doing 2 at once, so it doesn't take very long. And then we have those done, 3 3/4 by 1 inch. Okay, so now we have the sides of the boxes done, and we have the other sides of the boxes done. Now we need a 5 1/2 by a 3 1/4. Trying to think of what that was for. Okay, it's for these. It's for the insides. One of these and one of these. So 5 1/2 by 3 1/4. So we'll do one of these and one of these at the same time. And again, you need to make sure this is your long way, because they're going inside your box. This one. So this is your long way. So you want to make sure your paper is 5 1/2. You're going to just cut a 1/2 inch off of this. It's a 6-inch paper. So I'm just lopping a 1/2 inch off. So you don't even need to see that side of the trimmer. I'm just lopping a 1/2 inch off. So now I have a 5 1/2 across, right? And I'm going to turn it so you can see which way. 3 3/4. So that's it. And then I got all my stuff done except for that cardstock panel. I wrote CS for cardstock. I have to go get my cardstock. It's on the floor. Okay. So there are my 2 panels for the insides of the box. And I'll adhere those off for you. Let's get out some cardstock. I'm going to use Cajun Craze. You have Cajun Craze in your kit. See? Cajun Craze is part of your Give It a Whirl kit if you bought the Give It a Whirl kit. So let's take a piece of Cajun Craze. And I'm putting that on the top of the box underneath because I'm using a coordinating color. And the Cajun Craze needs to be 5 1/2. And the paper is 8 1/2 by 11. So that's 5 1/2. Because this is a piece of cardstock, and we need it by 3 3/4 again. All right. If you have any questions about cutting, we'll go over that in better detail later. So that's that piece. And it got a little raggedy because I have worn the heck out of my paper trimmer. It's a raggedy cut. That means you need to change your blade. See, when you get a raggedy cut like that, change your blade. It shouldn't cut cardstock raggedy, but I didn't have time to change the blade, nor can I even find a blade right now. So let's just now take our mini pizza box, and we're going to do the assembly. I'm going to zoom back out. I was only zooming in so you could see those measurements. I'm zooming back out. So you have a mini pizza box, and it is food safe. Not pizza box, sorry. Mini pizza box is retired. These are called mini paper pumpkin boxes. And you have 2 of these in your kit. 2 of these in your Give It a Whirl kit. If you're in the U.S., you can get a Give It a Whirl kit. But if you're not in the U.S., you can still get these supplies from your demonstrator in your country. Or if you don't have Stampin' Up in your country, you can still figure out how to do this with a different kind of box. If you don't have Stampin' Up, which I feel sorry for you, but you can still make a cute little Give It a Whirl box. Oh, no, you can't because you don't have these dies, but you could still have fun making things. All right, you could still stamp with me and hang out. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of training the box to fold, and I'm going to pop out these little pieces like that. Okay. Now you need to listen for the click sound when you assemble this. So you're gonna go like this, fold in the sides, push these sides in like this, right? Like this, and then you're gonna hear a click sound. Listen. Hear that click sound? That means you got your box assembled. That's how easy it is to assemble this mini paper pumpkin box. And click, click. That's it. You hear this clicking noise. So now you're going to put your panels on there. And just a little bit, you don't need too much adhesive, just a little bit on the sides like this. Oops. The one thing about Seal Plus is it's so strong it rips your paper sometimes. So you have to be really careful. You know, it rips your paper. It's that strong, but I love it. So let me just sometimes do it again. Okay, I got a little piece of adhesive and we'll put that in there. Put this in the box. Lay that in there. And I didn't put the treats in my box this time. I usually put like Ghirardelli chocolates and things. I'll show you what's in my other boxes, I hope, later. So you can put the same kinds of things in this box, I hope. So then we have this piece. No, we're still here. This piece here. That's going to go up here. A little bit of adhesive. You know what? The problem is I'm not using my silicone mat. I'm trying to work and these dies are in the way. So I think if I was in a flat surface, I don't think my adhesive would give me such a hard time. So let's move all these dies out of the way and use it. So whenever you use a silicone mat, you can always just get your adhesive started by kind of going over on the silicone mat. Okay, or not, because my adhesive is kind of just unraveled itself. But the papered chef never panics and has glue on standby. I have glue and tear and tape on standby. Oh, gosh, I forgot also that I haven't said hi to you guys. There's so many of you guys here watching. Hello, Janet. Hello, John. What I'm doing is I got a little bit of a twisty thing going on here with my adhesive. But it's all good. If I don't untwist it while I'm saying hi to you guys, then I will just go ahead and use my tear and tape or my regular adhesive. That might just be the easiest thing to do because I don't like to fiddle fart. But yeah, so hello Janet, hello Jan, hello Joanne. Look at that, all those J's. Joanne from Alabama, hello Nola, hello Marie, Caroline, Linda, Bpree, watching from Georgia. Cool, Sheila, Terry, and Deborah. Hello, hello, hello. So we're going to take, what we're doing is we're just using, this is the easiest way when you don't have time to fiddle with your Seal Plus getting all caught up. And it does, it does that sometimes. I can get it back together. The first couple times I botched it so bad I couldn't get it back together. And Demonstrator Support sent me a new one. But then after that, I got, oops, is that the wrong size? I must have done something wrong with that. Let's see. Maybe that one's on the outside. I must have done something wrong with the measurements. Huh. Okay, 1 second for a second. Yes, I must have done something wrong with the measurements. I said 5 5/8. Huh. These that must not be 5 5/8. Because it just doesn't seem like it's long enough. But you know what? I'm not going to fret because it still looks good. Where'd the one go with the glue on it? I don't know where it went now. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go with it. It just seems like it's a little short. It's a little short. I mean, it's not that I think that's the right measurement, but I think I just cut it a little bit short. But that's all good. It's all good. We don't fret here. Nothing has to be perfect. And everybody's happy. Just gonna It's still gonna look awesome. So I'm just kind of covering up the sides of my boxes, which should have been 5/8. I don't know what I ended up cutting. Definitely, let me see if I just, maybe it shouldn't be. Let me get my trimmer and see if that's, I want to see if I did it or if I wrote the wrong thing down. It would be good to know because you guys are always saying, what's your measurements? So it's good to know if I wrote it down wrong or if I just cut it wrong. So this one is I'm going to go say 5 5/8, 4/8, 5/8. Okay, this one is 5 5/8. Let's see. Yeah, so all I did, so now I know. It wasn't that I wrote it wrong. I just cut it wrong. Okay, so this is 5/8. That's what it should be. Right? So I must have cut it 5 1/2 instead of 5/8. Okay, so you should have 3 of those. But that's all, it's all good. I cut them 5 1/2 instead of 5/8, but it does not matter. But let's see if I cut the side ones correctly. It looks like I should have cut the side ones correctly. Okay, these are good, except that you want to make the pattern go like that so that the plant is standing up a certain way. And this one, find that little piece. I guess this must be it, just the little piece. Okay, it's all good. Now we're going to shut our box. We forgot to put the piece on the inside of the box. We'll do that piece too. This is when my seal broke. Put that in there. So that goes on the inside of your box. So now your box is all decorated except we're going to put the cardstock on the outside. The nice thing about using glue too is you can move it around a bit. If it doesn't land right where you want it, you can move it around a bit. But that's all good. That's our box. Now shut your box. Like I said, I'll show you what's in my other boxes later. And now we're going to put our cardstock on top. Put a little bit more glue on the edges than the middle, because the edges are important. Take your piece of Cajun Craze. And you're going to put that on top. And now it's ready. We're ready to assemble. Okay, so here we go. This is the part where the magic happens. We're going to do the stamping and assembling. So we got our box all created. We're going to take our little pieces. And this is what we need to make sure we have our little template. See how cute that's going to look on the Cajun Craze background? So we need our little template to stamp in. And this is what I was teaching you last time in the first couple sections. So you're going to take your cardstock and you're going to tape it. So you want to make sure, you see there's like little lines in your cardstock, right? We'll use some of these thicker ones. I'll use a thicker piece of cardstock. So you don't want those lines to be in the way. Those lines are kind of part of the die cutting. So you want to take your little window like that, and you want to take I'm just making sure I get the hole straight. Okay, so I got the hole straight. And I'm making sure the lines aren't there. And then I'm going to turn it over. Okay, and I'm going to do my stamping now. But when you do your stamping, I'm going to advise you to use a little piece of painter's tape back there. Just a little piece. And it just keeps your holes lined up. So I need to stamp right there in that window. That's why I'm using this template. That's why I said to use black for your template, because your template matches this exactly. And now if you get ink on the sides, it doesn't matter, and you can keep reusing this template. So now we need coordinating colors. So you have Bloom Where You Plant It is it's a nice designer shapes paper from the annual catalog, and a couple of the coordinating colors are Just Jade, Cajun Craze, and let's see what else I can use. I'm thinking garden green, no, cinnamon cider. I'm going to see what I used last time. So let me find my example and see what I used last time I used Just Jade. It looks like I used Evening Evergreen there, and cinnamon cider. But I'm just going to go ahead and use these 3 colors because they're already out. So let's see, what do we want hope to be? Okay, we're going to put, hope will be in the middle, so we'll put the hope in just jade. And we're going to say the other sayings in these other colors because they're very similar. So now we just need our little stamps. And if we mess up, it doesn't matter, we turn it over and we use our other side. So I just figured, and you can too, if you don't have this kit, one of the really nice things about this Hope box this month is they're allowing this kit to be sold to everybody. So for about the next week only, even if you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can still get this Hope box, and you'll be able to get the stamps I'm showing you. More details on our website about that. So I'm going to say where there is, that's what the first one, we're going to do where there is, put that there. And then the next one we're going to do Hope in just jade. So we're going to use Cajun Craze, where there is, and then stamp it off onto another piece of paper to make sure it's stamping good, and then stamp it in your window. Okay. Perfect. It fits right there. Now we're going to do Hope next. I'm closing the Cajun Craze. And we're going to take this off. And I'm going to put that over there. I don't want to lose that. Make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers there. To wipe it on my shirt. No, don't wipe it on your shirt. I'm just kidding. Flip that over. That's the Just Jade. And we're going to take the Hope stamp, because we're going to say where there is hope. We're making a little box of hope. Stick that on there. Now, I need to take this, before I try to get any ink on anything, I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it. Okay? Take your little, keep your piece of tape. Turn this where there is. Now, hold on. Let me think of the mechanics of this for a second. All right, I gotta think of something. Which way I would naturally turn this wheel? I'm thinking, because I'm right-handed, I would turn it this way. What do you guys think? I think I would turn it this way, and I should put hope on that side. Is that the way you would naturally turn it? I would turn the wheel this way. I mean, that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the hope on this side. Or will it matter? Where there is, well, you know, it doesn't matter because the saying can go either way too, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna turn it that way. I'm gonna put where there is hope. I'm gonna put hope over there. So I'm lining up the little dot, and all you just want to make sure nothing's in the window and that your dot is lined up. So now we're gonna tap 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 with the Just Jade, and we're gonna stamp over here and see how it's stamping good. And once it's stamping good, I know I can stamp it onto my card. Okay, where there is hope. Okay, good. I'm glad. Thank you, Denise, for verifying that's how you would do it. Because I haven't done one like this yet with the wheel card. This is just an idea I just came up with because I thought I have this box of hope. Okay, where there is hope. Ah! I thought that was going to land in the ink. Now we're turning it, and we need this piece like this. I got to find that hole again. Using your template, right? Okay, with that. Okay, there's the hole lined up again. Use that little piece of tape again, turn that down, pull this stamp off, and now we need the There Is Faith. We need a different color. So we used Just Jade already, we used Cajun Craze already, and last time, like I said, I used Evening Evergreen, but I'm going to use Cinnamon Cider this time. I'm just using coordinating colors. Okay, then we're going to use There Is Faith. So where there is hope, there is faith, right? So that's what we're going to put the There Is Faith here. So we're going to tap, 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 and stick that over there on that piece of paper. Always have a piece of paper standby to make sure your stamp is working right before you mess up your wheel. Because what if you accidentally were stamping upside down? Or, you know, what if you accidentally didn't have it inked all the way? But that's what that little piece of paper is for testing it. Okay, so Nola's saying clockwise. Hold on, Nola. I got to think of what clockwise. I got to actually visualize. Everything has to be visualized for me. Okay, clockwise, she's saying. I mean, that's what I do. I turn it that way. I guess I'm turning it clockwise. All right, so now you need to take a wheel, and you need to reinforce your wheel with an extra wheel. Always have two wheels because it needs to be strong. So turn that over. Turn this one over and adhere this one to it. You can use glue or I mean, it doesn't matter if you use glue or adhesive, but like we're going to be using glue right now because of where my adhesive is going. So we'll just put that there. And I'm just adhering two circles together. And it really doesn't matter because it's glue, and you have wiggle room when you use glue. So you see how you're going to, you have a little bit of wiggle room to get these to line up, to get the little scallops to line up. So now you got your freely moving wheel, and the way you're going to make it freely moved, free to move, is you're going to put the brad on the back. So first let's get the brads, and again these are in your little kit, so we're going to find our little, I'm looking for my bucket of crafty goodness here, seeing where my brads are. And so what you're going to need for this next step is you're going to need a brad, you're going to need your adhesives, you're going to need your adhesive sheets. That's what you're going to need, your adhesive sheets. So I'm looking for, and I have to find that. All right, we're not going to fret. Okay. I hate to dig into one of my kits after my husband painstakingly counted out the certain number of brads, but we got to do what we got to do because I can't find my big thing of brads. So let's see what color I want to use. Let's see what color I used before. I used a white one. I used a white square one. I'll just do that again. I mean, that seemed to work fine. I used a big white square one. So what you want to do is you want to attach this brad to this wheel like that, like so. Okay? And now before we do all the other stuff, let's test it. Where there is hope, right? There is faith. Pretty cool, right? So it works. So now we're going to turn this over, and we're going to, you can see why I lose brads all the time. We're going to take this and we're going to put a little bit of tape back here because then it keeps it from scraping against that cardstock. The Cajun Craze cardstock. So I'm just using a piece of painter's tape like that. Now, you want to do all this, you want to take your adhesives, and you want to take these kinds of adhesives, these are your dimensionals, and you want to put a few dimensionals around the wheel to hold it up. And then you want to use your your long ones, your adhesive sheets, that's these ones, or your adhesive strips, I should say, not sheets. These are adhesive strips, and you want to take your adhesive strips, right? And you want to put those along the edge, like the ones where you need a long line, the little adhesive strips. So you have adhesive strips and dimensionals, and they're both going to help hold that wheel up. The wheel needs to move freely. Okay? So something like that, and maybe another adhesive strip here, and maybe another one maybe down the sides, like so I would cut it a little shorter. So maybe like this. I hope I didn't cut it too short, but we'll see. Maybe like this. And then one over there. And I think that should be good for a good measure. So that's good. It freely moves. Now my only other trick, I have one more trick, and that has to do with the box itself. But let's get all these off first. Let's get all these peeled off. And these are not, by the way, these ones are not even that, these adhesive strips are much taller than the dimensionals. You're just kind of keep it from drooping. The adhesive strips are really what's holding up your card because they're taller than the dimensionals. But these dimensionals keep your card from drooping around the edges of that. You could actually double up the dimensionals if you wanted. But what I want to show you is what I like to do, because it does, let's make sure I got all that off and I didn't, there we go. We're almost done the project. This is, okay, so it's freely moving, but the only other issue, and let's put this box down for a second to make sure. Box is going to open this way. Okay, the wheel has to be at the bottom. We're going to center it. But the only other thing I like to do, because I like to put a dimensional right there, right under this wheel, to keep the wheel from drooping. And it's just something that my husband and I kind of, see what I mean? It's popped up a little here, extra. It's just a little extra put right there, because it keeps, and I keep the little top on it anyway. I'm keeping the top on. I'm not taking the adhesive off. I'm just sort of sticking it right there, right where the wheel's going to be, to help this stay up a little, right under this part of the wheel. So hopefully it's going to be hidden. So all the adhesive's off, but don't take the adhesive off that one, just off these. So we're going to put that there. We're going to center it. And now when you give someone a box, they're going to be so happy. I'm giving this box away this week. And they're going to be, oh, how cool, because they're going to go, where there is, they're going to say, oh, what's she talking about? Right? So they're going to say where there is, and they're going to go, what do you mean, where there is what? And they're going to start going, what do I do? And I'm going to say it spins. And even if I don't say it spins, they're going to figure it out. Right? And then there's hope. Right? Isn't that cool? So it just like they're automatically going to know that you're supposed to spin it, because they're wondering where the rest of the saying is. So let me see if I can go backwards and if it still work. Where there is faith. No, you do have to go the other way. I mean, you have to go where there is hope. Yeah, you do need to go this way. But if they don't go that way, they'll figure it out. So I'm going to keep it where there is. That's how I'm going to start my box off. And then the only other finishing touches are, you have some bling. You can add your bling to your project, and you could add your Wink of Stella. So if I was going to add some bling, from your kit or whatever, you take a few of these little opal rounds and pop them around. But I would just do this. This is what I did for this one. I don't know if you can see that. Every little plant has some shimmer on it, because I used Wink of Stella. So this is what you do. Wink of Stella is just a glitter brush, and you just brush everything, and it does really make a difference. It makes everything pop. And you could also, add some little rhinestones around. But that's all. So that's what I would do. That's your finishing touches. Let me show you what's in my other hope boxes to give you an idea of what to put in this hope box. So in these hope boxes, and these are kinds of things I put in little boxes. You could put little things like hand sanitizer and lip balm. And I put some mints in there. Okay, so there's just a little, and that says tomorrow because it's talking about where there is faith, there is hope. This is from the kit. And then in this one, I put in this one, I think it's tea. It's only been a couple of days. So this is a mini pizza box. These are retired now. You can only get these right now. That's why I included these in your kit. These, I did hoard some, but they retired, unfortunately. And they're cute. These little boxes are cute too. But same concept applies. So you got hand sanitizer, and then you have lip balm again, and then you have little Tic Tacs and tea. So you could do the same thing for this box. I'm going to transfer stuff into this box because my other box doesn't have anything in it. See how those fit in there perfectly? Mini Tic Tacs and some mango tea and some pineapple Waikiki tea. I got those on my incentive trip, and there's a little saying in there. This is all part of that stamp set. So you could put little goodies in there, little journals, little mini pens, okay, different things. And they're lots of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, part 3, and this little project. I want to show you now that we've ended here. Hope you understand how to make those. I want to show you now a little sneak peek of what we're making in part 4. So in part 1, just so you know, I went over in detail how to use these dies. Okay. In part 2, we made Halloween cards, and they are from the cute Halloween designer shape paper. And in part 3, we did the Bloom Where You're Planted, and we did hope boxes. Now in part 4, we're going to use a celebration paper. When I say celebration, it's a free paper. It's also part of your kit, and it's something that you can earn when you spend $50. And it's called the Penguin Playmates paper. And we're going to do the Be Cool. We're going to use the stamp called Be Cool, Be Merry. It's actually Be Cool, Be Chill, Be Merry. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to line up the little characters to put them in the windows. So we're going to be doing cards with Penguin Playmates. I'm going to be showing you how to make the outside of the card and the mechanics of the card. And this part I've already showed you how to make on my channel using the ScanNCut, how to cut out the little critters. But for this part, I'll show you the stamping. We're going to use Peace, Joy, Kisses. That is part of the Sweet Stockings. Is it called Sweet Stockings? Anyway, there's a name for that. It's something about the Sweet Stockings sweet. Or we use the penguins. But we're going to make cards similar to these ones. And I can show you a couple different options for the critters, and I can show you a couple different options for the stamping and how to do the repeat stamping for that one. So this is the kind of project we'll be doing. So I'm going to be using Misty Moonlight as my color of ink. It's a recommended ink color because it really does make a difference not using black, because there's no black in these. Well, there's a little bit of black in the penguins. Black would work good too, but I think Misty Moonlight works better. Okay, I tried it with different windows. But I ended up with this, I ended up liking this shape of the window and this shape of the window. And I can show you how to make, the different, this one go on the bottom or the top. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. We're going to be using Penguin Playmates and making these kinds of cards. So thank you all for watching. Let me see if there are any questions. Can you change the color on the white brad? Oh yes, with an alcohol marker. Sure, why not? Just color your, she's saying that's a great idea. So Terry, not just a good question, a great suggestion. So you could take, like, this is crumb cake, I believe. So Terry's saying take an alcohol marker and color, can you color the brads? Of course you can color the brads because alcohol markers are permanent. I'd probably do it before I attached it, and then I'd use my fingers to rub the ink on there. That's what I would do. So yeah, you can color that with crumb cake. And we just sell black and white brads. So that's, of course, the white ones are easy to color. Maybe you could even put a little bit of the designer series paper. Or let me tell you what I'm going to do in this series too at some point. I'm not sure. Here I did it. Actually, I did it. I'll just show you what I would do. So instead of all that work of coloring your brad, okay, so where can you get the brads? Connie, just in my store, we sell the brads, 200 in the pack of brads. We sell the canister of 200 white and black brads. And they look like the little bag I just had. See, this is what they look like. Here's the product number. Round and square brads. Here's the product number, and they look like this. They look like square and round. So there's the square, and then the round ones are really small. But what you can do, if you're into, see, here's the small ones. They don't come in this bag. This is my bag for my kit. See, 155570. Okay, what you can do instead of all the coloring and all the business we're talking about. Okay, you could just cover it up with the critter. See how I put the critter here? I cover it. He's above the brad. See, he's hiding the brad. So you can put a decoration there to hide the brad. So you start out with the polar bear, and then you put his little body there to hide where the brad is. So I mean that's another option just to get so. So Connie, love the card. Thank you, Terry. We're making these next. Can't wait for part 4. Okay, Terry, Sheila, Deborah, hello. Nola, Denise. Oh, Denise said that's how she do it. And hi, Susan. Gotta go, guys. The next part 2 is going to be in about next week sometime. I'm going to do part 2, part 4. All right. So gather your goods. In other words, gather the goods. And I've sent out every kit that anyone ordered. So every kit is on the way, or you have it already. Like Nola, I know has hers because she took a picture. But everybody who ordered a kit, it's either in the mail. I mean, there's nothing here. I have nothing left. I do have a couple kits left, but what I'm saying is they're all mailed out. So that's exciting. So you'll be able to follow along even better when you get all your paper you need. And again, do this the right measurement, okay? I wrote down the right measurements. Don't do the one like this one here that I cut short. It's all good. I cut it short, no big deal. But use these measurements. That's where I'm going to leave the camera angle. As I leave here, these were the measurements, okay? So don't use the ones I actually did. It's like, use these measurements here for your mini paper pumpkin box, not the ones that I accidentally did on the camera. But we keep on rolling when we make mistakes on this channel, because that's real life crafting. And it still looks good, even if it's a little bit short. Thank you all for coming. This is the Paper Chef, and we'll see you next time.